You know, when is someone going to introduce a light duty diesel? There's been a lot of talk out there, a lot of people saying this or that, and we've been looking at it for years, and finally, we're the first ones to bring this to market. So it is the 3-liter, and I want to kind of put it into perspective. This thing is going to come to market 240 horsepower, 420 pound-feet of torque. And so you step back and you start thinking about that. In our heavy duties, since 1989, we've had our Cummins diesel engine. If you go back to that early time frame and you look at the numbers from the horsepower and torque standpoint, this engine exceeds that. So it certainly delivers on all of the capability that customers expect out of a diesel engine. 420 pound-feet of torque gives you all the low-end power and capability that you need. So it will deliver on that V8 capability. On top of that, what customers have asked for with a light-duty diesel and what EcoDiesel will deliver is the overall fuel economy. Already we have best-in-class fuel economy with our 3.6-liter 8-speed at 25 miles per gallon. This will exceed that. And on top of that, it comes in at just an incredible price point at $2,850 over a 5.7-liter Hemi. So you look at diesels in the marketplace today and what they deliver. So you will get the fuel economy. It is a very clean technology. It meets all 50 state emissions regulations. So it will deliver on that clean technology. And then you look at the overall residual value and where diesels come into the market. Under 3 years is all it's going to take for this, from an efficiency standpoint, to pay for itself. And you think about that, the average age of a pickup in the market today is almost 12 years. So with the efficiencies, with the capability and what it delivers at that price point, we expect some just great things out of this powertrain. So the 1500 this year will continue with the 3.6-liter 8-speed, will be available in the lineup, 5.7, 8-speed, and then we'll have some 5.7, 6-speed in certain configurations to give that great initial cost that our owners are looking for. So 1500, we expect and believe that this will continue the growth of where we're at in the marketplace with our half tons. Now when you transition to the heavy duties and you think about why do people buy a heavy duty truck, and it comes down to one reason: it's all about capability. That's what these trucks are. It's the biggest tool in the toolbox. We talk about it all the time, and that's what this is going to deliver on. Now, Reed talked about the 6.4-liter that we're bringing to market. That's going to be available from a 2500 all the way through the 5500s. Now, what makes that important? When you think about the 2500 piece of the market, 55% of that 2500 segment is gas. So we do a great job with our 6.7-liter Cummins that delivers on that 850 pound-feet of torque. It gives you all the capability on the 3500s up to 30,000 pounds of towing. But looking at the 2500s, bringing in the gas engine, it's a huge piece of the market that now we will have a powertrain that competes in the heart of that market. Also looking at where we're at with our 2500s today, and I think this will, blow a few people away. When you look at the capability of our 2500 compared to the other two guys in the marketplace, our 2500 will outperform the competitor's 3500. So Great cost of ownership standpoint because of that initial acquisition, and it will outperform their 3500s. And then that leads into where are we going with 3500s and into the chassis. This thing will deliver on all of the best-in-class capabilities. We've got the link coil, and you guys know what that did in our 1500s. The stories you write, you drive these all the time, and the ride, the handling of those products is second to none. Now we'll have that same ride and handling plus all of that great capability that you expect out of our trucks. So when you look at it, and I talk about the momentum, the growth, the opportunities of where we are going with our lineup and how do we sustain this, as we see the economic growth out there, as we launch Ram Commercial and get into all of that, we have now a lineup that will go head to head with everyone in the marketplace. And you know, a little known fact, when you look at what's going on in the heavy duty piece of the market, you know, we are right now the #2 guy in that piece of the market. We are #1 in several states around the country, and that's where we're going with this lineup, with this product that we have in the market today. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kevin. He's going to get into a little more detail on the 6.4 and the updates we've done to our chassis. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bob. I'm Kevin Metz. I'm the head of engineering for Ram heavy duty pickup trucks. I'd like to start out with the 6.4 liter. You know, Bob and Reed mentioned all of the great towing capabilities that we offer in 13 on the heavy duty 3500. But there's also a strong customer demand for increased capability without having to step into that diesel, and that's what the 6.4 is all about. It's designed up front as a truck engine, and therefore it meets all of our tough truck durability requirements. It's compliant in both a chassis as well as a dyno emission certification. It has an active runner intake system so that it provides that low end torque that is required in a heavy-duty truck, but without sacrificing that high-end power. And again, Bob mentioned this, and this engine delivers best-in-class 410 horsepower and 429 pound-feet of torque. And if you look at the torque curve between this engine and our competition, as well as the 5.7, this thing generates as much torque as the other guys, but at 800 to 1,000 RPM less. So down in the basement, you're getting that strong, tough torque that a truck really needs. Just a couple more points. This engine is based off of the legendary Hemi foundation. It shares a lot of components as the 5.7 as well as the manufacturing process, all of which are proven out in the field with millions of customer miles. So this is a very proven engine. It's a very strong platform. We're very excited about it. But really what sets this engine apart from the 5.7 is all the technology that we put into it to not only improve the power, but to improve fuel economy as well as cost of ownership. So right off the bat, this engine, like I said, delivers great low-end torque. So we're now able to utilize our cylinder deactivation system, our NDS system that we've had on light duties for years. We're able to use it on this engine. So when you're in steady state, driving down the highway or in the city, this engine will seamlessly transition from running on 8 cylinders to running on 4, saving fuel economy. It also has a cool EGR system for better efficiency. It has a new PVC system integrated into the PCV system integrated into the intake for better fuel for oil efficiency. And it also incorporates the floating pin on the pistons. So all of these things are designed really for improved fuel economy and performance. We also have stainless steel exhaust gaskets and fasteners, and we also have oil jets for cooling the pistons. So key things to keep this engine running at a good temperature for long engine durability and longevity. So the cast iron block, aluminum heads, a forged steel crankcase. This engine will have a 5-year, 100,000-mile warranty, just like the Cummins turbo diesel. That's how confident we are in this engine. So moving on to the 2500. So we talked a little bit about the capability on the 3500, and part of that improvement in capability was the implementation of our new 3-link front suspension. We're now putting that 3-link front suspension on the 2500. It has 40-inch, these things are massive, 40-inch long front radius arms. They actually mount to the frame back at the transmission crossmember. They go all the way forward to the front axle, and they mount to the axle through some very huge can-style bushings. This suspension system really is the key for us to be able to increase the GVW of this truck all the way up to 10,000 pounds. It has greater roll stiffness, so we're now able to better optimize our front to rear roll stiffness ratio. So what that means is that in an evasive maneuver, this whole suspension system is able to distribute the roll that you get from payload evenly as possible to all wheels, maximizing tire traction and keeping the vehicle on a safe, predictable course. So that front suspension is very, very key. But as Bob and Reed mentioned, that's really not the big news. The big news is, in 2009, you remember, we with absolutely no compromises in payload. As a matter of fact, we've increased the GVW all the way up to the Class Max 2,000 pounds in both our gas and our diesel applications. So no compromises in payload capability. So the system basically consists of 4 very significant trailing arms, 2 massive multi-ring coil springs, a track bar for lateral support, very direct lateral support. We've also implemented our 11.5-inch axle that we used to just have on diesels. It's standard on the gas as well as diesels. So that's our standard axle now, a heavy-duty 11.5-inch axle. So combine all this in very detailed technical terms. You could summarize the ride by saying, "Holy cow!" It's amazing. Absolutely, it's 1,500 like ride. But seriously, a system like this is far more tunable than the traditional Hotchkiss. So we're able to improve our suspension kinematics. So not only we can deliver best-in-class ride, but we also can greatly improve our limit handling performance. So under loaded condition, this suspension system is absolutely fantastic. So really, to summarize it, bottom line, link coil, best-in-class ride, excellent limit handling, loaded limit handling, and no compromises in payload. Absolutely none. No compromises. So another great feature about this link coil is we're able to implement an air suspension that's pretty straightforward. You basically remove the coils and you put in an airbag system on the 2500. A very solid, strong look on the road. So that was where we headed with the air suspension. So loaded, unloaded, it's at 1 degree. Unloaded, when you compare it to the steel version of the same truck, it's about 2 inches lower. The air suspension is about 2 inches lower than the steel suspension, offering you a better ingress into the bed of the truck. So that it gives you that advantage. It actually has 2 modes. There's a button on the center stack that you can press and you can go into a tow mode. Now what it does in tow mode is it lowers the vehicle down to about a level brake, 0-degree brake angle, so that when you hook up to a trailer, you're looking more level as opposed to pitched in the center. So you have that nice solid rake look across the whole length of the unit. So that's a very key feature that we thought of up front and we implemented. Now, air suspension on the 3500, we took a little bit different approach. We actually kept the main leaf, but we softened it up. And we added the airbag in as a box spring. And then we added an upper control arm to manage the axle torsions. So again, it's the air suspension. It's optional on 3500, both single and wheel and dually. It again has two modes, normal mode and trailer mode. And I think that's it on the chassis. Just a couple of comments on the 6.4 relative to the chassis cab. This engine will be the base